Welcome to the Tap Room Exclusive. I'm Dean Zarbaugh. I'm sitting here with Mathias Hauck. We are now going to the Ohana Wheat. This was one of the first ones you were saying that you guys brewed?
Absolutely.
The first five?
First five.
First five?
Yep.
What was the inspiration behind it? Have you ever spent some time in Hawaii?
Those are all good questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have a sip of this first and we'll get started, okay?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's really nice.
Isn't that great? So, to answer your question, yes, we spent time in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. I've still not been. I want to go. My buddy's getting married there, so hopefully I will get there soon.
That's perfect. My brother's getting married there next September, so we'll be there. Yeah, absolutely. So the story behind it is that my aunt has a condo in Maui.
Oh, nice.
On the water.
That's amazing.
And so, starting back, for me, 15 years ago, we went on my honeymoon.
Okay.
Everybody gets to go on their honeymoon as part of one of their gifts. And then, as true island culture happens, you can't get away from it. It kind of becomes part of your blood. And at the time, 15 years ago, craft beer wasn't really even a notion in my mind per se, in terms of hitting all the breweries and if they were even available.
Yeah. Were you brewing at the time yet?
Just that one.
Just the one batch.
That one awful batch,
yeah.
And that was before that too. So
yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. But subsequently, going back regularly, had some different pineapple beers that were there.
Yeah.
And one of them being the pineapple Ohana Wheat from Maui Brewing Company. And so trying it, I liked it. It was good. It was more of a shandy to me. We took a tour of the brewery, the old pub.
Oh, nice.
Way before Kihei was built. And then actually there's a Maui winery up in the upcountry. And they actually produce the pineapples there and then take the pineapples and break them down for Maui Brewing Company. So they have the crushers there and they make the juice. For the wine, they make juice for the wine. They make juice. They do pineapple wine there too, which is really good. And so that same juice they use for the wine, they just, they sell to Maui Brewing Company. And so the beer is good. So it's a full wheat beer, pretty much. They use pineapple juice in it, Maui Gold pineapples. So it is good. It's available here in the States now. Wasn't for a very long time.
Now there's a lot of people asking for it.
And now they ask for it. And so kind of the idea of having a beer like that was always in kind of the forefront of our minds. And my brother-in-law, Dan, was really excited about trying that here. And so I sat down to write a recipe and work on those things together. This is a beer that is 50% two-row, pale malt, and 50% wheat. So it's not a full wheat. It's what we call it, a pale wheat. So it's not. It kind of scratches the itch for some wheat beer drinkers. Has a little bit of the wheat flavor profile, and also has that the pale ale profile. Yeah. We fluctuated this beer a little bit in terms of IBUs, and it's kind of landed where it's at today. So it's still kind of a pale ale. It's a wheat pale ale. I think it clocks in at almost just a hair under 6%, 5.9%, and 30 IBUs. And so we brewed a beer, and we in the secondary, back when we were home brewers, we would get some pineapple puree. Brian would make pineapple puree for us when he was the chef. And Gusto, and then again at Luca. So he would make the pineapple for us. We'd come in and we would use it, and we would again put tons of pineapple puree in it and let it sit with some secondary hops and get that profile we wanted. It was pretty good. It was a fun beer, and it kind of got where we wanted it to go. Right. And then when we decided to open the restaurant up, it was one of those things where we wanted to come up with some beers we thought would be kind of a hinge pin on what we wanted to do here as a restaurant. And so. And a brewery, and Ohana was one of those. Ohana obviously means family in Hawaiian, and so we're a family business, and our tagline is "Welcome to the family." So it all fits together with those. And so that being our flagship beer, it's drinkable for everybody. Like I said, it hits the itch for the people who like the wheat beers, people who like fruit in their beer. Still is kind of a pale ale. Yeah. And so you can taste a lot of the hoppiness in it. It's not super bitter. No. But it's hoppy. Yeah. It's very heavily hopped with Citra and Mosaic, so you kind of get those pretty tropical pineapple flavors anyway. So we're excited about this beer. I think it's really cool. It's won a couple of awards for us so far, and so there it is. It's our family, our Ohana Wheat Pale Ale, and so
very crushable,
super crushable. Like I said to you the last time, we have several beers in that lower ABV range. The fun part about this beer was when we brewed it for ourselves. Right now, it's like I said, it sits about 5.9%.
Mm-hmm.
When we brewed it for ourselves, as a home brewer, it pretty much was between the 7 and 9%.
Really?
It's kind of how we did things. My brother he was the coffee roaster. He was the aerospace engineer for Gulfstream for several years, plenty of years before he stepped down. And he did his master's thesis on cost efficiency of high alcohol beer.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
That's an interesting topic.
It was super interesting. He was a home brewer as well. And the process of that was that, the cost for the brewer to up your ABV from, let's just say, 6% as it is now to almost 9% is pretty much negligible.
Really?
In terms of
the
overall cost of the grain, et cetera. And so, with that being said, we said, okay, if that's the case, let's just do it. We're doing it for ourselves anyway. We like to drink high alcohol beer, so we used to do that.
Nice.
And so when we had this beer for different people, Paul Benner was one of the ones that said, so just FYI, you might want to tone it down a little bit in terms of ABV. And so we did.
9% wheat kind of scares people.
It might, unless they would have tasted it.
Right.
So,
no, absolutely.
It's one of those things where we did that, and it really does fit what we want to do. We want to be conservative with how we deal with people and alcohol. We're very cautious about that.
Absolutely.
We close early. We don't overserve. It's just one of our things we like to do. It's community. It's family. But we also know kind of potentially inherent dangers of that too.
Oh, so, absolutely.
We want to keep that in mind as we move forward, and we did that opening up here, and so. That's the backstory on that. It brought it down to a crushable 5.5, 5.9%, hitting clocking in about 30 IBUs. A lot of those are late addition hops. We started doing that a long time ago, and so like I said, we go through it quite a bit. It's a fun beer for people. It again, people can come in and talk about what they like to drink. I like wheat beers. I've had maybe a Blue Moon before. I've had this type of Oberon before, maybe in the craft beer scene. I'm okay with wheat beers. I also like fruit in my beer, and so we kind of get a chance to meet all of those niches with that. We garnish it with the pineapple, kind of make it more like a little bit of aloha. When you're sitting down here having a glass. So.
Bring the Hawaii here. Sometimes in the winter months, man, that's all you need to get you through the the snow.
That's it.
And all that stuff. Just
a little aloha.
That little piece of pineapple will just get you through 10 feet of snow.
You take a little bite of it.
It's like, man, I wish I was there. It'll just transport you there in your mind.
And it does for me, too. And I think that happens with some of our guests. We have people who come in and like, oh, my gosh, I've been to Maui, I've been to Hawaii, and we really don't skip on that either. We really use the best pineapple we can possibly find. We really don't spare a whole lot of expense with this beer. I mean, as you can taste it, there is a ton of pineapple puree in this beer.
Yeah, there is.
A ton.
And I love pineapple. I love pineapple. This is such a good beer. You guys, I keep saying that, but you guys make just phenomenal beer here. And no matter the style either, crossing, IPAs to wheats to chili beer, you do it all. What, wheats, not everybody does a wheat. There's still a lot of people who that's just not their thing, or, they're strictly IPA, whatever.
Yep.
Was that, again, like an idea to stick out a little bit, to say, let's do something that's like a pale wheat?
Correct. Absolutely. I don't know anybody that's currently doing a pale wheat and calling it like that.
Right.
And so we didn't want to do a full wheat beer. Like I said, my uncle, who's also one of our taste testers, the whole time is not a wheat beer fan at all. And so every time we brewed a wheat beer as home brewers, he was like, I'm sure it's good, but I don't like wheat beer.
Yeah, it's a style you either like or you don't.
It's true. And so, we have a wheat beer on tap. It's our medicinal wheat, and it's a pretty typical I think it's a more flavorful Oberon, for instance. I guess we'd keep it like that in that style, but we do serve it with an orange. So it kind of, again, scratches that itch for people who are interested in having just a wheat beer.
Absolutely.
Come in. I really like, I've never had any real craft beers. I've had, I don't know, Blue Moon before.
Right.
Sure, we have a beer that's very similar to that, a little more flavorful.
Yeah.
But we do serve with an orange, so, kind of go that route too. But this is not that beer. I think this pushes the limits on those things too. Because it is hoppy.
Yeah.
Not bitter. There's 30 IBUs, but as you drink it, it's not super bitter.
Right. It doesn't. It doesn't blow up palate. Still lets you taste everything.
Yeah. So I personally, I drink it. I taste the hops, which I love Mosaic and Citra.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can taste. I mean, they're right there in front, and you get that nice Citra, kind of bright citrus flavor. Then you get that kind of danky Mosaic finish that I think lends itself really well to the pineapple. They kind of play off each other in the background. Yeah, which is pretty neat. If you're a beer geek, you can kind of take the both in that, and you can feel it in the back. You can taste it. You get a little bit of that Mosaic finish, and you get that pineapple finish, which is really neat. So I still think you get some wheat. I still think you get the pale. I think you get some bittering hops in there. Yeah. I think you get the Mosaic and Citra front and finish, and you get a lot of pineapple. Yeah. So I think it's well balanced across the board. It's taken some time to get to that point. Even since we've opened, we've changed the recipe a little bit, just based on the broad array of people who come into our brewery and grill. It might have been a little bit too hoppy when we first started across the board for everybody. Yeah. So I think we started out at like high 40s, 48, 49, 50 IBUs even. Kind of just, we also wanted to play off the pineapple. It can be sweet. Right. It's not added sugar, but it can be sweet, so it could handle the IBUs, especially when we had it at a higher alcohol. But once we started doing it more of a lower alcohol, we definitely brought the IBUs down. I think sitting at 30 is a nice way to connect that pale wheat ale together.
Because it's something when you read it, not, someone who's not necessarily a beer geek isn't going to know what that is, and to kind of give them the best of both worlds in a way. You get the wheat, you get the hops, and it's a nice marriage between the two.
It is, and so we have a lot of people who don't like pale ales or IPAs. Yeah, everybody comes. I don't like IPAs.
It's a big thing now. A lot of people don't like IPAs.
Yeah, one of the two. You have women who come in and say, "I just don't like bitter beers," and so we talk about the Ohana Wheat beer, and that's a gateway for them. And like, oh, wow, I really do like some hoppy flavors, because again, we want them to experience the joy of drinking a hoppy beer, right, without having that super powerful bitterness that I also enjoy as well. Yeah, but to have it melded into a.
But you're not always looking for it.
Not always looking for it. Absolutely not. So this beer. As you said earlier, is great in the winter because it brings you a little bit of island life warms you up, a little island life to these brutal Cleveland winters. But it also is a great spring and summer beer. Yeah, like I said, it has a pineapple on the side and makes you feel like you are in paradise.
What would you say goes good if you wanted to eat some food with it?
Yeah, so again, any of our salads would work great with this beer. We have a competition wing. It's called our Awesome Sauce, which is a Caribbean jerk sauce, which is really what we do is we take our special wings that we have made just to perfection. Yeah. We do them double cooked, so we do everything in two processes. Oh, nice. And then we do our own house-made Caribbean jerk dry rub. Oh, wow. And then we go from there and then add a pineapple chipotle kind of a sticky sauce on top. And that is Awesome Sauce is where it's at. That's what it's called. So that pairs really well with our wings. Any chicken and fish that we have on the menu. Our salmon's ridiculous. We have a great salmon on the menu. And so this beer definitely lends itself to that bright chicken, fish, which you can add to any of our salads as well as any of our wraps. But again, I think it goes well with everything we have on the menu.
Absolutely. Mathias, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. We have one more episode. Tune in next week as we cover another beer from Avon Brewing Company.
Thanks, Dean.